It is fall in New Mexico, and one of the best ways to experience and enjoy those fall colors is with a huge bike ride.
Hi team, I'm Sid.
And I'm Macky.
For the past 6 years, we've been racing mountain bikes professionally.
And living out of our van.
On this channel, we're sharing those adventures with you.
All of them.
So hit subscribe and join the team.
Good morning, team. Normally, in the fall, is a ride called the Enchanted Circle Century, and it's 100 miles through what is known as the Enchanted Circle in New Mexico, which is a loop from Taos to Questa to Red River to Angel Fire back to Taos. I actually have done it once, but it was a long time ago, and I did not do it from the house, so I'm going to do it from the house down, do the loop, back to the house, which should be a little over 100 miles. I have not done a century on a road bike in a really long time, if ever. So I'm pretty excited. I'm a little bit nervous, but it's the perfect time to do it because the colors are changing, the weather is nice and cool. It really is gonna be a beautiful time to do it. Whether you're on a mountain bike or a road bike, 100 miles is a long ways. So this should take me a lot less time than my Everesting did.
Oh my God, I hope so.
Yeah, I know, me too. I'm hoping like 6 to 7 hours. Obviously, there's certain things that you do differently when you're prepping for a 100-mile ride than if you're prepping for like a 1 or 2 hour ride. First of all, I put on frame bags on my Niner. Up here I have bar and shoes because I figure those will be easy access. I'll be getting into them. Yeah. Down here I have a ton of bars and shoes. Super lightweight windbreaker, an EpiPen because I'm deathly allergic to wasps, my phone, and then also some toilet paper because,
critical.
Well, you know, critical. And then because we do YouTube,
Hashtag YouTuber problems.
extra SD cards and an extra GoPro battery.
Hashtag
and then
COVID
because it's, yeah, exactly. Because it's this year, I have a mask because Jim, Sid's dad, strongly believes in bandanas as a first aid tool.
That's your first aid kit.
This is my first aid kit.
Not in the EpiPen.
Not in the EpiPen, exactly.
So you can make a tourniquet and you can stop an anaphylactic reaction. So
yeah, that should
really,
be good.
You're probably good.
And then I have 2 bottles on the bike and then a bottle in the back. Then there are 2 very important things that I feel like people sometimes forget about when it comes to a long ride like this. And the first one is a chamois. I do not want chafing. I do not want saddle sores. I want to be very, very comfortable. This is the Pearl Izumi Pro chamois. This is what all of our kits are basically because they're just ridiculously comfortable. Obviously a nice chamois is more expensive, but it's one of those you get what you pay for kind of things. Like sure, you can get a cheap chamois, but A, they're not as comfortable, and B, they wear out a lot faster, so you end up replacing it so that basically overall you end up spending the same amount of money. So chamois is a big one for a long ride like this. The second thing is a comfortable helmet. This is the Laser G1 MIPS, and for a long ride like this that's on the road, obviously I want good protection, but it's just super lightweight and super comfortable. And if you're gonna be riding for 6 or 7 hours, you do not want to be thinking like, wow, my head hurts because my helmet's squeezing it, or like, wow, my neck's tired from trying to hold my head up against this helmet.
You can get chafing from your helmet.
On that note, both of these are available on Competitive Cyclist, who is sponsoring this video. A huge shout out to them. You can get 15% off of your first order at competitivecyclist.com using the code SIDMACKY15. Some exclusions apply. Links to both of these things down in the description, so go check them out and get yourself something comfortable for your next big ride.
All right, Macky's off. But first, he has to maneuver what I like to call the redneck ramada. It's fine, guys. Don't worry about it.
It's really just a test to make sure that like mentally you're on it.
Yeah.
Because if you can't make it through that, you should not be riding a bike.
All right, have fun.
Thanks. I love you.
Love you too.
All right, here we go. 100 miles coming up. Is it bad if I've been riding for 1 minute and 10 seconds and my legs are already tired? I think I'm gonna throw on my jacket because it turns out it's a little chilly this morning. Ah yes, much better. Here's the first really fun descent of the day. It's short, but it's fun. I've hit 50 something on that before. This time I wasn't quite up there. I was only at 48. I think I must have had a headwind. I have to admit that starting with a primarily downhill 8 miles is pretty fun. It makes you feel like you're going really fast because I just did that 8 miles in 20 minutes. But yeah, you know, what goes down must go up, as they say. Time for the coat to come off. Let's see if I can get it in my pack without stopping. Nice. So this is the lowest elevation section of this ride. And you can see we don't really have any aspen trees. It's primarily just conifers, juniper, pinon, and occasionally some scrubbly bushes that we get a little color in. And we don't get the real nice colors until we get higher in the mountains. All right, made to Questa. And we're getting a little color down here, even though it's pretty low, but I guess that's because of the cottonwoods by the river. So one of the most important things for a big ride like this is making sure that you are hydrated and well fed when you start the ride, and that you continue to hydrate and eat during the ride. The recommendation that I've heard that I generally follow is a bottle an hour and 300 to 400 calories. And if you're drinking mixed, there's probably some calories in there. I'm at an hour 5 now, so I better get the rest of my bottle down and get that bar down. I made it through Questa, and now I'm starting to climb up the Red River Canyon, which tops out at Bobcat Pass, which is apparently the highest pass in New Mexico at 9,800 feet. It's pretty high, and I think it's like a 20-mile climb from here. Wah wah. I had to turn around for a second because I saw these on the ground. Oh yeah, check those out. Beat up, scratched, nice. You really gotta just embrace finds like that when you're riding. I remember one time I found a Leatherman on the side of the road, a pretty nice one. And I think this was when I was in high school, so it would have been 15 years ago. And I still have that Leatherman. Keep your eyes out, you never know what you might find. Could be something really cool. Maybe I'll find $1 million. Man, I love these rocks, so cool looking. So my 2 youngest siblings, Bo and Key, were going to drive out and meet me in Questa and then ride Bobcat Pass with me. But they were not there when I arrived. So apparently they're running late, and I don't really want to sit around and wait. So I'm hoping they will just turn and drive up the canyon and then eventually catch me, and then they can unload their bikes there and ride with me from there. But we'll see if they ever show up or not. There's some aspens, got some on this side too. I guess we have made it to Aspen elevation. Ooh, there's a good orange one. For those of you wondering, the way to tell cottonwoods, that one, from aspen, that one, is that the aspens have that super white tree trunk, and the aspen tend to grow up straighter and have little round leaves, whereas the cottonwoods are more like oval leaves. Apparently, aspen are the largest organism on Earth because, like, if you see a big patch of them on a mountainside, they'll all be part of the same organism, all connected by their roots. Pretty cool. Made it to Red River, which is about 1/3 of the way through my ride. That's pretty good. Hour 45. I will take it. There go Key and Bo. I guess they'll go find a place to park, unload their bikes, and then join me. Wow, Red River is happening. This is a happening place.
Fast, bro. It took us like an hour to drive what it took you 2 hours to bike.
Hour 45.
Bobby, you should go ahead and take a picture of Mimi.
Well, I can't get ahead.
Or give me your phone and I will. Okay. I'm gonna take a picture of you.
As you guys might be able to tell, my sister Key is riding the new Niner E gravel bike. And yeah, well, she's enjoying it, you could say. We'll have a video in a week about our first ride and first impressions of that bike. Bo and Key made it about a mile with me, and then Bo got a flat tire, which unfortunately I can't give him my stuff because, well, I have another 65 miles to go. So I don't know if he has repair stuff on there. I'm hoping he does. If not, I guess they will have to turn around and coast back down to the car, which is a bummer. Well, I guess either Bo's tire wasn't flat or they fixed it, and then I guess Key towed him up. So I have riding buddies again. There it is, Bobcat Pass, 9820. A slightly shorter climb up to this point than I thought. It was only 17 miles. Now you guys have to decide how much you want to drop off the other side.
I want to drop off a bunch, I just want to come back up.
And that's the problem. Yeah, you just tell me how many miles you want to do and I can tell you when you've hit that.
How many have we done so far?
About 4.
Maybe 5?
Cool.
5 more?
All right, I think I better stop and make sure my siblings made it down that safely. Because, yeah, that was pretty fast and pretty amazingly fun. Looks like I hit 54.6 miles an hour. Not too bad. Thanks, guys. Thanks for coming out and riding with me. Have fun climbing back up.
Hey.
If you get really tired, make Key tow you.
I will. Actually, if I...
All right, bye, guys.
Bye, baby.
Have a good ride.
Eat a burrito.
Made to Eagle Nest. Just past the 50-mile mark and the 3-hour mark. So I'm about halfway. And I figured this would be a good time to talk a little bit more about chamois. So the first thing, which I mentioned at the beginning, is get a good chamois. They'll last longer, they're more comfortable, it's worth the money. The second thing is that no matter what chamois you have, under no circumstances should you ever wear anything under a chamois. That includes boxers, underwear, Spanx, spandex tights, whatever. Do not wear anything under your chamois. I bring this up because as a 12-year-old, maybe 13-year-old, I wore chamois for the first time, and I had to ask the people running the mountain bike camp whether or not I was supposed to wear anything under it. So I'm gonna save you the embarrassment of having to ask. No, do not wear anything under your chamois ever. The next point is that you should not re-wear chamois without washing them. Your butt sweats when you ride, and the chamois pad, which is the actual chamois part, collects that sweat, and then if you wear the chamois again, basically you have funk in your chamois that's just been sitting there, bacteria, all sorts of stuff. And as you ride, obviously your butt is rubbing on the seat, and that can create little micro tears or abrasions on your skin. And then if you're wearing a dirty chamois, that bacteria can get in those. And then you can get what is called saddle sores. Basically think pimple on your butt. Not fun, not pleasant. You do not want it. Wash your chamois between uses. If you don't, if you only have one chamois and you don't want to like run a laundry cycle every night, in the sink, tiny bit of soap, rinse it primarily, that'll work. The next thing is more of a riding tip for long rides, especially on the road bike. On a road bike, you tend to be sitting a lot more than you do on a mountain bike, and things can go numb, your butt can get sore, and one big thing that helps is standing up every once in a while. So if you're on a flat section and you've been sitting for a couple of minutes, just stand up, take a couple of pedal strokes, maybe 5-10 seconds, and then sit back down. The last thing I want to talk about, chamois related, is chamois cream. If you haven't heard of it, chamois cream is an anti-chafing cream. It's really good for long rides when, yeah, you'll be sitting in the saddle a lot. Personally, I don't usually use chamois cream. I have years of riding, so my butt is pretty used to being on a saddle. But for most people, I would recommend, if you're doing a ride that's a lot longer than your usual, try some chamois cream. It can make a huge difference. The one thing that's important to know is that you should not use chamois cream all the time. It basically acts like lotion and will soften the skin, and that's bad because the softer the skin is, the more likely it is to get abrasions and saddle sores, etc. So don't use it all the time, but do use it when you're doing a much longer ride than normal. All right, here's the Angel Fire blinking light. Angel Fire's over that way. I'm at 60 miles, so about 40 to go. This climb goes up to Palo Flechado Pass, and I used to climb this all the time because I spent 2 years of high school in Angel Fire, and this was where I would come train. But usually I wasn't 62 miles into a ride, so I think it's gonna hurt a little bit more this time than usual. I love coming down it, but going up it is, well, hard. But also, as you can see, there's not really any shoulder, so it's a little bit scary because I can't really go the same speed as cars on the way up. So I just have to hope that they're paying attention. Hey, I saw these people earlier. The moped duo. They were coming down the Red River Pass, Bobcat Pass, going the opposite direction as me. Maybe they're doing the Enchanted Circle too, but on mopeds. Well, I gotta say, this climb sure is pretty. Especially now with all the leaves changing. Guess what I found, guys? I found a socket wrench. It's looking pretty rusty. And a socket, which is a 3/4 inch. I guess my pack just got a little heavier. This is actually the same climb where I found that Leatherman a bunch of years ago. I wonder what it is about this climb and people losing tools on it. Top of Palo Flechado. This is the part of the ride that makes me the most nervous because it's through the canyon and people drive it pretty fast, myself included, but there's not really a shoulder. So I'm just gonna try to go fast, go as close to the speed of cars as I can, because that tends to make it safer. Oh, I just hit a chipmunk. That's really sad. Just came out of the Angel Fire Taos Canyon. I'm at 80 miles, 4 hours, 45 minutes. I just went through the stoplight that is known in the Taos area as the old blinking light, because like, I don't know, 20 or 30 years ago it used to blink. And I could have turned there to head back to the house, but I'm pretty sure that would have put me at like 93 miles, which is not 100 miles. So I'm gonna go back to Hondo, where I popped out on the Enchanted Circle route, and then climb back up the 8 miles that I descended the first time. So that's kind of a bummer, but you know, it's good for me. Character building, that's what they say. This is my last descent, and then I have to climb about 1,200 feet, something like that. I'm starting to seriously crave a steak quesadilla. Why steak, you ask? Because we had steak last night and there were leftovers. Bad news, guys. I've got probably 6 miles to go and my legs are starting to cramp up on me. It's gonna make this last climb a lot less pleasant. Seems to be okay as long as I'm seated, but if I stand up and knowing the hill that I'm about to get to, I'm probably gonna have to stand up, or I'll be going like a mile an hour, which actually might be what I end up doing. I'm at 99.2 miles with 6,964 feet of climbing, 5 hours, 51 minutes. Sid was nice enough to come meet me for the last climb.
Last climb does kind of suck at the end.
Oh, it's so brutal. I mean, it's not that bad, but it's hard always finishing rides with the climb.
Always.
Always.
It's back. How was that?
Hard, but a lot easier than Everesting on Fraser.
You did it fast too.
Yeah, 101 miles, 7,400 feet of climbing in just over 6 hours. I'm pretty pleased. And then I found a socket and a socket wrench.
Good job.
How cool is that? Made it all worth it.